Well, right, let's have a look at exactly what went down in FP3 and what some of the times were. So these are the final results. Cars still on the track doing their practicing their starts, stuff like that, but the time for tweaks and stuff is over. We are officially finished with the session. We're now going into qualifying in the next session later today. So no more time for any of these teams to really make too many more adjustments. They've now officially got the information that they're going to use. So the news is that Carlos Sainz went fastest quite towards the end of the session. The Ferraris were in the pit for a long time before eventually managing to get out and get a couple of hot laps in. Charles Leclerc made a bit of a mistake and couldn't really match the time that was set by Carlos Sainz. So he remains 0.2 of a second back there. But it started the session off with Hamilton going fastest. We saw the Red Bulls on a pair of hards, or a set of hards, for quite a while, and so obviously trying to get some information on those hards, but they didn't really have much pace. They haven't really had much pace throughout the weekend in the pre-practices, but they came out on a pair of softs, or a set of softs, and all of a sudden they did have the pace. Perez set a fastest lap before Verstappen then set another fastest lap, and then Alonso and Sainz got involved there. So the Red Bulls do have pace. Don't let the looks be deceiving. They do have the pace. Very difficult to know what pace the Mercedes has. Hamilton went out very early and didn't really see too much happening from him afterwards with regards to sending too many hot laps there. But George Russell managing to come in, and he remains about 0.3 of a seconds back. And the McLaren took a while to get going. Oscar Piastri in particular struggled initially in that session, but he eventually managed to start clocking in better times. Lando Norris, who had a terrible pre-practice yesterday in that second session, he managed to get out and start clocking some better times as well. The last Stroll bringing up the number 10 there for Aston Martin. Nico Hülkenberg, the fastest Haas around there. Danny Rick, who was fastest in FP1, remains the fastest for RB. He does outdo Yuki Tsunoda so far in that session. And then obviously this were the bottom teams of the second half of Kevin Magnussen, Alexander Albon at 15 there, Zhou, Bottas, Ocon, Sargent, and Pierre Gasly, who did not have a great session, 1.5 seconds behind the pace at the moment. So a very interesting first session there, and of the day, and obviously later we had very different conditions. It does seem to be quite cool already, though, to be fair. Track temperature down at just below 30 degrees currently, and the air temperature at 20 degrees. So we do expect it to be quite a cool and cold evening. So it'll be interesting to see how that will affect the cars. We do watch Max Verstappen coming out. Before the session, they said that they were very happy with the car. They said that they know they've got a lot of improvement to make, but they know exactly where they're going to find that improvement as well. I think for me, the most exciting thing is probably the fact that Fernando Alonso on comms said that he's feeling really good in the car, that he is he's basically in sync. He said they talked about the fact that Verstappen was, I think it was 1/10 of a second behind him, or 2/10 of a second behind him, whatever. And he said he's got another step to go. You know, he said he's feeling good and that he's very happy with how the car's feeling. So that's exciting. You know, you want to feel that Fernando Alonso feels confident going into qualifying later today. So that for me is probably the most exciting news. As a Ferrari fan, cautiously optimistic. Mercedes fans will be very optimistic this morning. We're feeling really good. Maybe not feeling as good looking at that session now with George Russell, the sixth fastest there, but Hamilton after that initial did not really manage to get back out there and clock. But we did see his pace from him last night. He was the fastest, and in the sort of similar conditions that we will see in qualifying. So I do expect him to be to have some good pace tonight. So to be honest, I think qualifying is a little bit of a lottery. You'd expect the Red Bulls to be quick. After that, very difficult to know what to think of your Astons, your Ferraris, your Mercedes, who have all kind of traded spots so far in the first 2 weeks of testing, as well as the first practice. So a bit difficult to know exactly what to expect from those teams later, but the only thing we can do is wait and see. So in terms of qualifying, it starts at 7 o'clock local time. We do have a timer, and we're going to be doing build-up throughout the afternoon towards that qualifying. So still plenty of stuff to look forward to throughout the rest of the day, but just over 2 hours to go until qualifying. Mark will be there with you for qualifying, so I'll be taking a bit of a break, and you'll see me guys. You'll see me again next week when it comes to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So yeah, it's been very cool in the first couple of sessions, getting to grips with exactly what's happening over here, and I think we're in for a very exciting qualifier. I don't really want to call it. I don't think I can call it because I'm not entirely sure what to think of the Red Bulls, for example. I'm not entirely sure what to think of the Mercedes, and I don't want to, back the Ferraris too much. So they'll just kind of let me down. But really cool to see the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso does seem to be in the mix. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Go to some of the comments, for example. JP saying science was on soft, as were most of the other cars. I'm talking about the various tires that were being used. Saying that the Alpine looks very slow. Grant says a bit chilly here in Bahrain. Yeah, good old Grant over there he does stay in Bahrain, so he can give us a bit of inside knowledge, and saying that it is chilly. I did see that it was going to be quite cold. If you looked at the track, the air temperature was down at 20 degrees. So for a desert country, you don't expect really those kind of temperatures. So interesting to see how that plays a role in qualifying. People, thank you very much for joining me for the session so far. We'll see you guys in a little bit. We will have the F2 live timing of the sprint race before we go into the Formula 1 qualifying, which starts in 2 hours and 20 minutes exactly. But until then, enjoy the build-up, and I'll see you guys all next time.